All right, today we're diving into a text that, billions of people know by heart. It's this incredible source of comfort. But we're going to look at it in a way you've probably never even thought of before. We're not just seeing it as a poem, but as this masterpiece of mathematical engineering. Yeah, you heard that right. We're decoding the secret architecture of Psalm 23.
Think about it. For centuries, these words have been a total sanctuary for people. Whether you're in a moment of grief or even gratitude, this psalm it brings this deep sense of peace. It's this universal touchstone of hope, right? Everyone knows it for its beautiful language and that powerful imagery. But what if I told you that's only half the story?
What if that powerful comfort it gives isn't just some subjective feeling? What if it's actually built on a foundation of cold, hard, objective, mathematical certainty? Seriously, today we're going to peel back the layers of this super familiar text to show you a sophisticated structure that's been hidden in plain sight. We're talking about a shepherd's code woven right into the original Hebrew.
So, how in the world do you even begin to look for a code inside a poem? It sounds a little out there, right? Well, it all starts with understanding the really unique properties of the language it was first written in. And I'm not talking about any modern translation here. We have to go all the way back to the source.
The key that unlocks this entire mystery is a system called Hebrew gematria. Now, here's the deal. In ancient Hebrew, they didn't have separate characters for numbers like we do, 1, 2, or 3. Instead, the letters of their alphabet did double duty. They were both letters and numbers. And this is huge because it means every single word, every phrase, every verse has a specific numerical value baked right into it. The text is kind of like a ledger, just as much as it is a poem.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory, it's a really concrete system. It's pretty simple, actually. The first letter, Aleph, well, that's a 1. The second letter, Bet, that's a 2. And it just goes on like that through the entire alphabet. This simple one-to-one link completely transforms the text into this multi-layered document. It's language and mathematics all at once.
So you might be asking, but why do these numbers even matter? Great question. According to Kabbalistic tradition, this inner math is incredibly significant. The core idea is that if two totally different words or phrases happen to have the same numerical value, they're not just randomly connected. No, they're seen as sharing a deep spiritual essence. In this way of looking at the world, mathematics is basically the objective language of the Creator. So if words have these numerical values, the next logical question is, are there any numbers that are more important than others? And the answer is a resounding yes. There is one number that acts like a divine signature, an anchor for this entire code we're talking about. That number is 26. This is the absolute linchpin of the shepherd's code. It's thought of as a structural constant, almost like a metaphysical seal that's just stamped all throughout the text.
So, why 26? What's so special about it? Well, it's the numerical value of the tetragrammaton. That's the four-letter, unpronounceable name of God, YAH-WEH. When you add up the values of the letters, Yud, which is 10, He, which is 5, Vav, which is 6, and another He, 5, you get exactly 26. So you see, this number isn't just another value, it's considered the divine DNA of the scriptures.
And this shows you how the code is believed to work right from the very first line. The psalm opens with the divine name YAH-WEH, which, as we just saw, has the value 26. By starting right there, the entire psalm is immediately anchored to this divine signature. It's like it's setting the spiritual frequency from the very first word.
So we have this signature number, but what about the structure of the entire poem? This is where the engineering behind it becomes honestly breathtaking. Let's dive in and look at the psalm's mathematical heart.
So the first thing to know is that we're looking at a closed, intentionally designed system here. The original Hebrew text of Psalm 23 is made up of exactly 57 words, not 56, not 58, 57. And that precise count is what allows for a perfect mathematical center.
Now, within these 57 words, there's this deliberate and really profound pivot point. In the first half of the psalm, the text talks about God in the third person. He leads me, or he restores my soul. But then, right at the exact mathematical center, the whole perspective dramatically shifts. The second half starts speaking directly to God in the second person. For you are with me, your rod and your staff. It's a journey from observation to real intimacy.
So the crucial point is what's happening right at this pivot. That one phrase that acts as the hinge for the entire psalm, for you are with me, it's made of exactly 7 Hebrew letters. And in biblical numerology, the number 7 is huge. It represents spiritual perfection,
completion, and rest. So you have this 7-letter shield placed right at the mathematical heart of the text, precisely in the valley of the shadow of death.
Okay, this internal precision is pretty amazing all on its own, but the code doesn't stop there. It actually seems to connect this intimate promise of personal protection to the grand cosmic story of creation itself.
Yeah, researchers have discovered that the mathematical patterns inside Psalm 23 aren't isolated. In fact, they share a direct link with the gematria of the very first verse of the Bible, Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
This right here is the foundational equation. The total numerical value of that first verse in Genesis, in the original Hebrew, is 2,701. And mathematically speaking, 2,701 is the product of two prime numbers, 37 and 73.
So, within this whole field of biblical mathematics, these two numbers, 37 and 73, are considered the fundamental factors of creation. They're believed to form the numerical bedrock of the entire story of the universe's origin.
And here's the bridge. This is how it connects. Just as Genesis 1:1 is built on this foundation of 37 and 73, key phrases in Psalm 23 seem to use multiples of these exact same numbers. For instance, the total value of the first 8 words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," is 999, which just so happens to be 27 times 37. The implication here is staggering. The architect who coded the universe is the very same shepherd who promises to protect you.
And to bring this all together, there's one final, really fascinating layer of synchronization, and it has to do with the number of the psalm itself, 23. Now, it's true, the chapter numbers were added centuries later, but a lot of people who study this find the connections here are just too striking to be a simple coincidence.
The number 23 seems to connect this ancient text directly to our own physical reality. Our biological blueprint is literally contained in 23 pairs of chromosomes. And if you look at other traditions like numerology, the number 23 is associated with the royal star of the lion, which is a symbol of grace and protection. It all suggests that maybe, just maybe, the psalm operates on a frequency that resonates with our own biological and celestial design.
So here's where we land. We have a poem of comfort that is also a map of incredible mathematical precision, a personal promise that seems to align with a cosmic blueprint. And if this is true, if the world's greatest words of comfort are built on an unbreakable code, it really begs the question, doesn't it? What does that suggest about the design of our own lives? Maybe our paths aren't as random as they feel, but are also guided by a design that is as precise as it is merciful.